Hey there folks, welcome you all to yet another Friday vlog of mine. It's a little cheap one this week, people, on the telephone machine. There's a few reasons for that, one of which is there's not a huge amount to talk about anyway, but the sun has come out, people. The sun has come out, and sometimes, every now and then when I do these Friday vlogs, it's nice to actually not be sat doing it for the whole night and miss all of the sunshine. So every now and then it's nice to do one on the telephone machine, which I can carry around with me. And I mean, look at that, people. Look at that decking work that I did. It's just unbelievable. So it is nice to, I mean, normally I would spend, an hour recording it, then another hour editing it all together, and then sit and listen to music while I'm posting it all up. And it's quite enjoyable most of the time. But when the weather's out, it's a little bit, because you kind of miss all the sunshine because you sat inside doing it all. So it's quite nice to do these ones on the phone because I can then just upload them straight away. Obviously, I don't want to mess anything up because you can't edit them on the phone, people. You know what I mean? It's got to be, it's one take, people. It's a one take vlog, which they are most of the time, to be fair. But there's always that cushion of being able to edit it if you do make a mistake. You know, if you do it on the laptop like I normally do. And obviously, when we do it on the telephone machine, we don't have the cool Rode NT USB microphone, or is it Rode USB NT? Rode NT USB. I think we're on. So yeah, so the voice is all right though. I think you guys are happy enough with the telephone machine vocals. We do have a few things to talk about, people. One of which is I've had a turning point, as you know. I've been playing The Last of Us Part 2. I'm going to sit down because my arm will start hurting. Oh, can I just say this as well? Flaggins up to you all, people. Flaggins up to you all. If you haven't got one of these, go and get one now. I'm going to try and do this in a way that the camera's not shaking with my hand. I also used to put the beer on the table next to me, but I needed somewhere to put the new bike, which has ended up here. So the little table that I have is kind of tucked behind the bike. It's not quite as easy to get to, but... And I haven't used the bike much, actually, at the minute. Simply because it wasn't... when the coronavirus lockdown happened, it was a little bit iffy going on the pavements and stuff, because you could never keep enough room to get 2 metres apart. And doing everything on the roads is a bit, you know, you're allowed to cycle up the seafront in Blackpool on the, you know, the actual seafront without going on the roads, but it just wasn't practical. I mean, there was a lot of cyclists there. I just didn't find it practical, so I avoided it and kept up with my running instead. But I've not been able to run for the best part of 3 weeks now because I pulled my calf muscle. So I'm hoping that I might be able to go running again on Sunday. Anyway, little digression there, people. Yes, so let's get back to the gaming. I have been playing, people, The Last of Us Part 2, as you will know from the PS4 shares I've been putting up, of which, yeah, the PS4 shares are funny things. I'm assuming it's because I'm not chatting on them that maybe people aren't that interested, but generally speaking, when I put them up, I mean, I guess another thing is that the PS4 shares I do aren't RPGs, generally speaking, and my channel is predominantly RPG people, so maybe that's what it is. But the PS4 shares never really get a lot of views at all, with the exception of a few, one of which has now got over 1 million, as we know, which is just me playing some Uncharted 4 in a Jeep. Anyway, yeah. So I've been playing The Last of Us Part 2. I think I'm about 50% way through the game. Don't worry, I'm not going to have any spoilers whatsoever. I am going to do, for want of a better word that everyone else uses anyway, a spoiler cast on it once I finish the game. And that said, I've reached a point where, honest to God, last night I thought, if I finish the game, and I'm not gonna give anything away, but if you watched the vlog from a couple of weeks ago, and this isn't really a spoiler, but near the beginning of the game, you move another character about that isn't Ellie or Joel, and that has come about again halfway through the game, but in a more forced upon fashion. So I'm now playing the game as somebody that isn't those two people, and I'm not going to give any more away than that because, you know, I don't feel that's a spoiler. I think it just is what it is. And it was a gut punch to me because I adore those two characters so much. If I'm not playing as either of those characters in that game, I don't feel like I'm playing that game. I have no invested interest in this person that I'm playing as, and I kind of understand what the game's trying to do, but I just was like, I could see it all. I could see it coming when it happened. I thought, oh, don't do this to me. And it was horrible as well because I was playing it as Ellie, and I'd reached this like 1000% hooked level. I was enjoying it so much, and then it did that to me, and it was almost. It's the worst thing a game can do to me. It's the worst thing it can do. And anyone that watches the channel knows that my bugbear with Dead Space 3, for example, when you started Dead Space 3 not as Isaac Clarke, I mean, you are Isaac Clarke for most of the game, but you started not as him, and I was like, what is this? Like, don't start the game not as him. Why? What are we on about? And I mean, honest to God, I was fuming last night. I was absolutely fuming. I mean, to put it in perspective, though, The Last of Us Part 1 is my favourite game ever. And I'm sure there's been times when I've dipped in and out of that, but it is pretty much my favourite game ever. So I was really worried about this follow-up, because I just felt like after Uncharted 4 didn't hit the mark for me at all. It wasn't an awful game, but it just missed the mark on so many levels. And I thought, I wasn't 100% convinced that a second game was going to be up to the first one. And honest to God, like up to where I got to with Ellie, I was on par with it. I was loving it. And then to have this force fed to me, and the way that it was force fed as well, it's not like you can even, you have to take it slowly. Like it forces you to walk really slowly through areas to kind of get a grasp of what's going on, to get, all this sort of stuff. So it's not like you can just rattle through it. They really want you to soak this all up for a purpose. And I get it. I understand why they're trying to do it. But for me, this game, the magic of the first game was the two of them. You know what I mean? Like, and to just suddenly throw me into having to play as another character is like, that I've not spent any time with in this game to this point at all. It was different in the first one, because when you were thrown into playing as a different character, it was Ellie. You spent a lot of the game with her. So, and you loved her by that point, and you had a vested interest in her, and she felt different to play as than Joel. So there was all of this positive to that. And when we knew that we were going to be playing as Ellie in this game, predominantly, that was exciting to me, because I loved playing as Ellie in the first one, and Joel had his game as playing as Joel, and this was Ellie playing as Ellie. So I was stoked for it. But as I say, I don't want to go into it that heavily, and I certainly don't want to give away any spoilers, other than the fact that the game is now forcing me to play as somebody else. For how long that is, I don't know, but I know it's not short. I know it's not a short space of time, based on a number of factors. You'll get that the minute you get to that point. So it's going to be for a while, and I just, like, at that point in time, I was just like, oh, really? It was such a gut punch. It was like, I was loving it so much, and then it was just like, why would you do that to me? So I don't know. I mean, Aaron Brew, he actually preferred the second half of the game to the first half of the game. So, horses for courses, I guess. It's all relative as to what you were enjoying in the first place, I suppose. But for me, I'm immediately not involved with any of the characters that I love in that game immediately, for hours, a lot of hours. It's like, well, I don't know what to make of it. And part of the reason that I'm doing a cheap vlog tonight is because I felt that maybe with a couple of beers in me, I might sit, once the sun goes down a bit, I might actually sit and try and push through and just try and see if I'm missing something that other people clearly haven't missed, because it's sitting at its 94 on Metacritic. You can't really judge much on the fan score, because that was clearly Xbox people that went on just to put zeros in to diss the game, because they have nothing better to do on the Xbox at this stage in the game. I love you all, but you know, not all Xbox players I might add, but you know, there are those out there. I'm not saying the PlayStation side's not got its fair share, but I don't recall any major gathering of PlayStation players going on to Halo on Metacritic to make sure that it got a 4. You know what I mean? It's like it's the most childish thing I've ever seen in my entire life. But anyway, oh, that's good, people. Ooh, that's hitting the mark. Anyway, I genuinely went to bed raging last night. I pushed through, like I got to a point where I thought I'm going to start finishing up now because I was on this sort of tail part of this Ellie part. I thought after this bit I'm going to finish up, and then it jumped to this other person, and I thought, all right, I'll see this through for a bit, and then I realised that's when I realised what the game had just done to me, and I was like, oh no. And it's a shame so far as the initial aspect of it was actually really good to get an understanding of this, that, and the next thing. It was great. And then I realised that it was going to start making me play as this character, and I was like, oh, no, no. And I pushed through, I did, for 2 hours. I pushed and I pushed through to see if I could just make it click. And I just was like, no, I need to stop. I need to stop, because I was just like, I wasn't enjoying any of it. Even like the cutscene bits and stuff weren't going in the way they should, because I was so annoyed. It's like, oh, for feck's sake. Please, by the way, don't put any spoilers in this this feed for anybody, and not for me either, because I will try and push through and finish this game. And I'm aware of the fact that, you know, I should get back to the characters that I love, but I just it's the one thing that infuriates me in a game, and it doesn't happen often in a game when at all. I can't remember that many games that would ever do that to you, but. Well, as I say, the first game did it, but you didn't mind because it was Ellie. You had a vested interest in her. We'd spent all that time with her. Anyway, so the fact of the matter is that I'm not. I'm not. Well, the part of the reason that I'm doing this cheap vlog rather than a long one is because I thought, well, if I don't spend all that time editing another one together and enjoy a bit of the sun, I can come back in and maybe push through a bit of it and just see if I start clicking with it. But it was just such a, ugh. It's like, I was on such a high as well. And in fact, you'll see from the last PS4 share I did was last night. That was me rocking it as Ellie in the boat, cruising around, just, you know, enjoying everything about that game. I was having a right good old time with it. And I posted that PS4 share up just to show you what I was up to. And then it wasn't long after doing all of that that it all came to this. So, you know, I was extremely disappointed. But as I say, Aaron Brew, he was like, oh, you're into the 50% of the game I loved now. And I was like, and I'm just on the opposite spectrum of that completely. It's like, I don't get it. I don't understand why but I don't know anyone that would have been sat during the first 50% of this game and said, oh yeah, I know what I really want to do. I want to play as this other character for no reason whatsoever. Well, there is a reason, but, you know, it's... Anyway, I don't want to say too much because I don't want to spoil the game. So I do want to do a proper spoiler cast on it, though. So when I do finish it, I want to talk about all the ups and the downs. And even, like... I mean, Aaron keeps saying to me, like, look, he goes, just have faith in what they're doing because it will click. You will get it. But then by the same token, it's like, but I didn't need to sit and wait to get it in the first game. It just worked. I don't need to spend 10 hours playing a game that I'm not enjoying just so that in 11 hours' time I suddenly go, oh, that's what that was about, because it didn't make the last 10 hours any nicer to play. You know what I mean? It's like, it's either fun or it isn't. I don't need to wait 10 hours to find out whether it was fun or not. It just wasn't fun because you sucked me away from what I love about that game, is where I'm at the minute. So I just, you know, there's a lot I want to say about this, but I don't want to ruin anything. So all I'm going to have said at this point is that I'm playing as someone that isn't those two characters for a space of time that I don't think is short. Well, I know it's not short because Aaron's told me it's quite long. So I need to get my head into a place that doesn't mind and just tries to push through. And I'm hoping with a couple of beers in me that might that might do it. I don't think I've ever had to drink my way through a game before, people, just to see it through. You know what I mean? What is that all about? Hey, you tell me. Anyway, shall we move on to another subject before I do give a spoiler away by mistake? Cheers to flags up to you all. Blimey, I've got through that first one fast today. Cheeky. Right. Well, the other big topic that was kicking around this week, outside of the, well, there was a lot of things going on with bullying in the workplace and inappropriate behaviour and all that sort of stuff in the gaming industry this week, which, you know, I don't think this is this cheap little vlog of mine is probably not the right place to really talk about it that much. But what I will say is the same as I said in my vlog about Black Lives Matter and all this sort of stuff. For me, it doesn't matter what movement we're talking about. Like, it doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, or you're black or you're white, or you're of any colour or race or any orientation, sexual orientation, any of that stuff. It just doesn't matter, people. Like, we are all on this planet together. We are all connected. And you just have to treat everybody with the same level of respect and care and love that you would want to be treated at yourself. You know what I mean? Like, if you feel like, if you're about to say something to somebody, and just stop and think, how would I feel if somebody was about to say this to me? That's all you need to do. Just take a little second to check yourself and go, maybe it's not appropriate. That's it. That's all I'm going to say about it, because there's loads of different there's loads of different people. But there's loads of different people in the world, and we're all different. What kind of world would it be if we were all the same? Like, how dull and uninteresting and boring would that be? It just would not be a nice world to live in. Like, I don't want to live in a world where everybody... What do you want? We want everybody to be cloned like us? Like, why would you want that? Like, the reason that life is interesting is because of all the different things in it. Why do we want everybody to be... We don't want everybody to be the same. We want everybody to be different. I mean, if anything else, we only learn because of other people's viewpoints and other people's opinions and matters and cares and things that they do in life. It's the only way that we develop and change as people. Like, if everybody was the same, we'd never move, we'd never change at all. We'd never develop, we'd always forever be the same. So the whole thing is just a mystery to me. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's just stuff that's been, as far as I've seen, all over Twitter, and it's been in another few podcasts and stuff, of people that felt they were mistreated in workplaces like developer studios or IGN and stuff like that back in the day and stuff. So it's all, a lot of stuff's just come out and been said from people that went through it. And I think there's just a push to make the gaming environment at any level just a nicer place to be, whether that be the comment section of a video like this or the comment section of a podcast from Kind of Funny, or whether it be the way that somebody treats you working for IGN or a game studio, just anywhere at all. It's just another push, because it's happened in Hollywood already, so it's just a push to ensure that the same level of change is happening in the gaming industry. And hurrah for that, in my opinion. Nobody wants a dickhead, people, you know what I mean? And you know who you are. It doesn't take a normal thinking person to not realise they're being a dickhead. You know what I mean? Like, just check yourself. Like, if there's a group of people telling you you're being a dickhead, you're being a dickhead. So stop it. And just learn from it and apologise and move on. Like, and don't do it again. Differing opinions is fine, but there's a respectful way of doing it. And there's a way of understanding that somebody is different to you and not hating them for it. Anyway, let's all just love each other, people. You know what I mean? Me and John Lennon would have got on well, you know what I mean? Let's all just have a big hug, shall we? You know what I mean? Anyway, shall I actually get on to the next topic now? which was the other big topic of this week, which was well, Microsoft have decided that they're shutting Mixer down after about 5 minutes of Mixer, because Mixer only pitched up about halfway through the Xbox One life cycle, didn't it? There was, I think there still is no YouTube link on the Xbox, which is infuriating. So you've got to put stuff on a pen drive and put it up. So things like the PS4 shares are so easy because I can just post them straight from the PS4 up to YouTube. If I want to just show you guys that I'm on with stuff and having a good time with the game, I can even plug the microphone in and it will just record me talking on it if I really want to. But I tend not to do that for the PS4 shares. You can't do that on an Xbox. You can't plug a microphone in and hit and record yourself talking on it. I mean, it's just got none of those great features. Hopefully the Series X sorts that out. But I'm doubting it based on what they've done with Mixer, because I still think the Series X is not going to have any YouTube connection to it, because what they've decided to do is they've gone, right, okay, the amount of time it's going to take us to grow Mixer, which wasn't growing at all, is going to be... Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Mixer was a direct competitor, effectively, to Twitch. They were trying to do what Twitch were doing, live streaming video gaming for whoever wanted to live stream gaming. And it's failed miserably. They spent a ton of money getting big people over from Twitch onto their platform instead, and it just hasn't worked. So they're completely out of pocket, and they've decided that they're going to partner with Facebook Gaming, which, I mean, if you talk to anybody, like, Facebook Gaming is the most pointless place to do your gaming stuff. And it's all right as a secondary place to go, to have a backup to your YouTube stuff or whatever, but it's not, like, by any stretch of the imagination, a place you want to build a future of gaming on. So that's just bizarre in itself, and I think there's something, they've not partnered with Twitch, but I think Twitch will still be sort of connected somehow to the Xboxes and stuff. But for me, like, I think that their biggest downfall with Mixer was what they should have done. They shouldn't have tried to take on streaming. They should have tried to take on YouTube, which includes streaming. Because Microsoft are the only people with the deepest pockets enough to actually create something that's the same as YouTube, where you can upload your videos and they can be stored on the servers for all time effectively and not have to lose them and all that sort of stuff. You don't get that in the streaming platforms. So anything you do is literally live there for maybe a month and then gone. And the only people that offer that kind of service, for free anyway, is well, I say free, it's all based on advertising obviously, is YouTube. And Microsoft are the one company that could have actually created a product that could have went head to head with YouTube. Their server capacity is unbelievable, and they've got the money to keep delving into it. I mean, they would have I believe, with what we were going through with the whole sort of adpocalypse thing, and then the whole I can't even remember the name of it now, but the whole thing where the American government were going to start coming after people for showing stuff as kids content and try to pull kids into the viewing for advertise, all that sort of stuff. It was all like a massive hoo-ha. And if Microsoft had actually gone down the route of taking on YouTube instead of just Twitch, and actually provided a product that provides all of the same things as YouTube, I think they would have been in for a proper good run there, because there is no other place you can do all of that. None. And if you're really into doing the streaming, then if you stream one night, it's going to be there forever if you want to leave it up there, which is what happens on YouTube. Like, if I do an hour, I can do a 4-hour stream and it will save that 4-hour video. Anything above that, you need to stop and start a new one. I think anything over 4 hours, there's an issue. I can't remember what it is, but it's a long time. So you don't just lose your content the minute it's done. So it's good to have that full, because it's content that people can go and watch and look back on. So I think for people on, generally speaking, I think if anybody does something live on Twitch, they end up pulling that video down from Twitch and throwing it up on YouTube. It's like, yeah, like, why? I mean, is Twitch not making enough money to put servers up that can actually hold the content? Like, what's that about? And then you've got never-ending content that's got never-ending adverts on it. Like, why would you not want to keep the content? Anyway, it baffled my brain as to why Microsoft didn't actually take on YouTube instead of just taking on the likes of Twitch and just doing streaming. And I think they would have been far more successful with it, but that's just my humble opinion, people, you know. But I don't think there's any other place. I don't think there's any other business that's big enough or deep enough pockets to take that kind of thing on. The only other one would probably be Amazon, but that's not really I mean, they stream movies and stuff like that now, but they would be the only other company that's got the kind of pockets that might want to go into that realm and take it on. But yeah, it was an interesting one. It just feels like a complete waste of time. And if they'd actually taken on YouTube, I think they'd still be fighting. I think they would have had a growing market immediately, especially with all that bloody US government stuff going on and people were pissed off with it. I mean, of course, they would have still had the same sort of guidelines to think about, but I think they could have handled it better than YouTube did, certainly. Yeah, it's a very, very odd one. And then to partner with Facebook's like even weirder. It's like, if you're not going to do what YouTube do, just ensure that we can post up to YouTube from your console. But because they've now partnered with Facebook, I'm feeling like I still won't be able to post up straight from an Xbox, which is a thing that really puts me off playing on Xbox, considering I have the channel which I like posting stuff up to. I mean, I'd been on the X for ages. I mean, I must have been playing the X for about a year without playing any PlayStation stuff, and it dawned on me I hadn't posted any of my gameplay up that I was doing off camera because I don't have the facility to do it easily. And it's too painful. You know, it's different if you're doing this sort of shit full time, people. It's different, isn't it? But when you're working to just your downtime, like I am, you don't want to spend bloody ages on everything you want to do. And it literally took me, that half-hour video I put up of me as Ellie last night, running around in The Last of Us, it took me... So you're recording 15-minute segments, so I just kept hitting record every 15 minutes. It tells you when it finishes. And then I think it was 3 videos. I smelted those 3 videos. There was 2 15-minute ones and a 6-minute one, something like that. It was a 30-minute video, I think, in the end. But that whole process of putting that thing up on YouTube was... Well, the recording was no time. I mean, I just do that as I'm playing. And then to actually edit it together and post it up probably took about half an hour at most, and only about 20 minutes of that, 15 minutes maybe to edit it together and then let it render, and then probably about 15 to 20 minutes, and then it's uploading while I go back and play The Last of Us again. It's really quick, like for a half-hour video with an intro and an outro and all smelted together in between the 2 videos. It's great. It's a terrific service they've got on PlayStation for sharing your gameplay. It's just brilliant. The Share Factory, it's called. It's a terrific product. It's really good. So I'm hoping all that comes back with the PS5, people. Anyway, there you are, people. That's all I had to talk about today. Flags up to you all once again. I'll have a sip of this before we go. Here's hoping that I can push through a bit of The Last of Us tonight. If I don't do it tonight, then I'll certainly try and get the oomph to go back to it on Sunday. But I might try and push through a little bit of it tonight just to see if I can click with it and see if I can just suddenly go, oh yeah, okay, I'm getting a groove with it now or something. But I feel like I'm going to have to try now, which you really shouldn't have to feel about a game. But, you know, I stand alone in many things, people, and this is probably another one. But anyway, we'll see what happens. I shall update you all in next week's vlog. It has been, yes it has, an honour and a privilege serving for you in this little vlog of mine today. And I shall see you all in the next one, folks. Take it easy. Bye.